this is sort of, another week where people are coming back in. You guys have dealt with it before. You've dealt with it all season. How do you manage this to make sure you get the performance you want in Utah?
We're fortunate with the players and the character and the quality of the players that it starts and obviously ends with them in how they handle themselves. And we've just got a great group. We've got a great group who understands that responsibility, and for it to go smoother or go well, there's things that we need to do. And for us as staff, what we've been busy doing is making sure we try to communicate and be aware of how we can support in every possible way and help that transition. And it starts with the mental and the physical and recovery and getting that balance right as they come back in before we travel to Utah. So I feel like, we're experienced and we've got a great group, and they do very well handling this. But there's no doubt it is a challenge for every team in the league, and I think there's some advantages yes, we can grab some advantages. We can grab 2%, 3%. If we handle this well, we could also lose 2, 3, 5% if we don't handle it so well. So we're focused on trying to take care of the players. Players make it easy because they're a great group, and it's going to be a bit of a transition again, without a doubt. And I feel confident we'll be able to minimise the amount of transition and the time it takes, but it will, and we'll be ready to get into Utah, be as close to best organised we can, and from that point grow into the game and grow into that occasion before growing into the next few weeks.
When are players coming back in? Are they meeting you in Utah or meeting you here?
Everyone will be back into Portland before we fly on Thursday. Some are in today and some land tomorrow, and then we'll all train at least once together Thursday before flying.
Okay, great. And then looking at Utah, last time you guys went there, you guys get the lead, but you end up conceding some goals, ending up with a draw. What do you learn from that game to maybe get a win this time around?
Yeah, I also think they're a much improved and better team than what we faced, and that was probably they might pin that performance against us with another performance of the year as their two best. They're a very organised, well-coached team, well-organised offensively and defensively. Don't concede many goals, and it's tough. It's tough to play there. It's tough to play against a good team with great talent. So I think, we can learn lessons from the last time we played them there, but I also think they're much improved, and I also think we're improved. So for us to be aware of some of their trends and always be focused on what our strengths are. I think it's been clearer the last 3 or 4 weeks what our strengths are and on both sides of the ball, and how we can be aggressive, how we can look to be dominant and be effective in this game.
Talking about you guys being better than you were then, Kling was talking about that specifically, defensively being more organized on defense, things like that. In terms of the defensive side, do you feel like you guys have grown and are hitting your stride?
I think we've taken, I think it's a valid point if we just look statistically, and we're collectively better, I think, in all areas. But defensively, we were probably conceding too many chances, too many goals than we'd like to. So I think it's easy to point. But when you get the training time together, when you get the meetings together, or you just get players together, you just get the same continuous group talking, working together, supporting each other, things improve. And I think we've improved in all 4 phases of our tactical model, and the relationships between individuals continues to grow. And the biggest part of our strength right now is the competitiveness in the roster. Just to get into the 18, just to get into the 11 is strong. And I think we've been leveraging that well to try and keep pushing each individual to be able to support this team the best way they can.
And in terms of the Shield race, I know it's probably not what you're trying to think about, but does that sort of feel like it's within grasp at this point? Is it something that you can kind of work towards, knowing that you have the potential of winning it?
Look, when we sign up at the beginning of the season and put a Thorns jersey on, Shield, home playoffs, and then fight for a championship is in the job description. We've got to a good position now where we're fighting to be in the playoffs position. We've got there by focusing on day to day, focusing on week to week, focusing on game by game. We've been improved this year on how we've grown individually and how we've grown collectively as a team. That's something that we set a target as. So we got here by focusing on those things and focusing on the process, focusing on the journey. That can't change now. And whether we were in a less glamorous position or in the position that we're in, nothing would change. And I think this just to make playoffs, all teams just to make playoffs, It's going to go right down to the wire. For us, we've got a big integration happening this week before we fly to Utah, and Utah is a playoff game for us, just like every other game will be for the rest of the season. So not trying to zoom in and waste energy or waste thinking time on things we can't control. Focus on the process, train well, play well. One game at a time is how we got into this position, and normally around this time the business part of this group is very good, and we know how to do all the little things that give you an advantage, and I think we've been doing them recently.